Okay, makings of lunch. It's 10 past 12 on our day of departure. Say hi, Maz.
Hi, Maz.
We're just fueled up, got an extra couple of cans. We've got a full can in the dinghy, so we've got plenty of gasolina. I've just rigged a lifting strop on the engine and rigged a pulley up there, and we'll run it through to the cabin top winch. Mez gets the winching duties, but we'll lift the outboard motor up onto the bracket and then stow the dinghy, and then we're done. We've got a little bit of tidying up to do, but there we go. This is our last couple of hours in Panama. We need to take our Panamanian flag down because we're no longer under the courtesy or travelling under the courtesy of Panama since we've checked out, so we're technically international sailors. While we're in Panama, up the top of the mast there on the right hand spreader is the Panamanian national flag. Whenever you're in a country, you fly your flag on the left and the courtesy flag of the country that you're checked into on the right hand side. I've got 10 jugs of diesel there, so there's 200 litres. We've got these the magnificent draft chutes for the front cabins, and we leave the rear hatches open and it just blows straight in and out, which is magnificent. So I've got to stow them shortly. I've got to lash the drums up against the barge board there, and then we're pretty much right to go. I think we're going to have a bit of a scrub on the anchor chain. We hauled up the anchor to go in and fuel up and top up our water before we left, and when we did so, the anchor chain and the bridle were simply covered in weed. So, and yeah, thick slimy weed, which they tell me in the Pacific the weed growth is prolific, so which is something we haven't really had to tend with on the Atlantic side. But yeah, we'll have to get the scrubbers out and scrub the weed off the bridle before we stow that, because it's that's going to be lashed away for the next month or so. Always. So we'll have a little lunch and then bugger off, eh?
Sounds like a plan.
Cheers. Okay, so we were just sitting down to lunch and realised that we didn't have our chives, so we've got some chives here, and we'll simply cut. There we go. And Mez has been down to the garden downstairs, and we've got what are they? Mung beans. Mung beans. So she's weeded the garden downstairs, and I'll chop up the chives, and then we'll have some lunch.
My flag is down.
We really should have had one of those grippy things.
Like what we've seen.
Yeah, that you could just wrap around like they're like anal beads.
Yeah, I've seen them, Rick. You don't describe it.
Well, I thought I might have.
We've had a problem with our log, it's our speed log. Oh, look at all that. Rick's down the bottom, he's cleaning all a heap of weed off. But he's going to have to go under to free up the log. There's probably some critters in there from when we were on the buoys at Panama. There is a lot of weed. That's what's coming up the shitter. Our friends on Serengeti, they left at 9 o'clock this morning. It'll be about 1:30 when we head out. Last few minute things to do and we're on our way. Apparently the water's really, really cold, so I'm glad it's him and not me. Still down there. He's just a day out with his undies. He's wearing Wednesday and it's Thursday. I told him not to do that. When we first came into this anchorage 2 weeks ago, there was not as many. I reckon there might have been maybe 7 or 8 boats in the anchorage. 27, 28 including us. I've been filling in my diary every day so we all know what's going on. Oh, so I can remember, because I've got a brain like a sieve. Whatever I did yesterday, I've got no idea. And I've numbered the days and dated the pages for the next 2 weeks, because we don't have a calendar and we'll have absolutely no idea what day it is. We can look on our phones, but that's not the plan. I did buy a new deck of cards, because the ones I've got are pretty sad and sorry, so I might put those away and bring out my new ones shortly. And they're all shiny and slippery, so they'll slide all over the table, where the other ones are icky and sticky. So it's probably not a bad thing. I'm going to put them away and start a fresh lot. That's a Smithsonian research station over there. But you can actually go in there and have a look through that section of the Smithsonian, which is pretty cool. And we're heading out there soon. He's back. A lot of green stuff came off.
Yeah. Say hi, Maz.
Hi, Maz.
So we've left the anchorage. We've motored out beyond the shipping or the controlled area, the port limits. We're now sails up. We've got one reef in because it's 5 o'clock and it's starting to sun go down, so we're going to reef a second reef later on tonight. It's Tobago Island right there, and all the way around here is the outer anchorage. So yeah, that's it. Travelling about 5.5 knots. It's not a race. We want to get there, but it's not a race. I'd rather get there comfortably. We've got 12 knots of wind. No noise, except for the ocean. For the next 25 days.
25 days?
30 days. Somewhere in between, who knows. Say bye, Maz.
Bye, Maz.
Bye, Rick. Well, it's the start of day 2, about 9 o'clock in the morning. We're down the bottom end of the Gulf of Panama, and we're passing Panama, which is the last point of land that we will see until we get to French Polynesia. It's blowing quite nicely. We've re-rigged the headsail so it's sticking out a bit further, stop it from flogging. Sails are nicely set. We did have one failure this morning early, which was the bail on the main sheet block here, underneath, right in there. The main sheet block pulled out of the boom and dropped to the ground, so not a very well built boom actually. So I've got some Dyneema, and wrapped the Dyneema around. We're doing alright. So we're almost dead downwind, which is not the best angle of attack, but it is what it is. Speeds are alright. What are we doing? We're doing 9.5 knots. 9, 8.5, 10 knots of wind, virtually right on the back end of us, and well, that's the Galapagos Islands there, and here we are. We've got a big line of ships coming up next to us, heading up into Panama, and that's us coming around the Cape. And so now we're on track all the way down here to keep going, zoom in a bit. There we go. We've just put a mark in next to the Galapagos, 724 nautical miles. It's going to take us at this speed 5 days to get there. So, but speeds are good. Last night we averaged about 5 to 6 knots because we reefed down of an evening, put 2 reefs in the main, which slows us down, but it allows us to accommodate any squalls or gusts or wind changes that happen. But there we go. Say hi, Maz.
Hi, Des.
Well, we might do a few boat jobs. There's still a bit of, in fact there's still a lot of tidying up to do, and stowing of stuff. I might run the water maker for a little while after lunch. We'll check on our batteries. We were at 60% last night when the sun went down, and we were at 40% this morning when we started. We were using about 20 amps.
Well, after a pretty quiet night, the wind's picked up. We sat around for a while doing not a lot. Apparently this is where the birds have made their home overnight and left quite a few calling cards. So Rick's out with the scrubber and we're cleaning it off. Well, Rick's cleaning it off. It's not a beautiful day. Very, very hot. And there's a lot of nothing.
Well, it's just on sunset on, I think we're day 5, Maz?
Yes.
Say hi, Maz.
Hi, Mez.
Maz has found a lovely spot here with the fan on the floor, oscillating fan under the table for a bit of breeze, it's actually there's not a lot of wind around, so we've got looking at that, we're doing about 5 knots, and we've got 6 knots of wind over the 7 knots of wind over the deck. So 6 and 7 is 12 knots, or 10 to 12 knots of wind, and we're doing 5 knots to 6 knots just on sunset. So we've got we're still running full mainsail, and we've got a headsail out on the other side. It should run through this track here and back through the clutch, but I've got another rope down through the cleat and back up here to the winch, and that's holding the headsail out wide, so it's actually holding its shape, and we're getting some decent speeds out of it. The forecast is for the wind to drop right out to less than 5 knots in the next 2 days, or for the next 2 days. So we're getting down in the low latitudes, if you like. We're only a couple of degrees above the equator, and we're in the doldrums, the intertropical convergence zone, so we're going to expect a bit of calm weather and a bit of motoring. We've got extra fuel on deck to account for that. Day 5, it's just actually it's not a lot different to day 4, and will probably be not a lot different to day 6, so we'll keep you posted. Well, the things you do on a night watch, eh? We've had issues with the new chart plotter in there. Won't talk to the autopilot, so we can't navigate to waypoints or anything like that. It seems to be an incompatibility. So my old chart plotter I'm going to put back in, and I'm going to mount it out here, and I'm taking the opportunity to do it at night so it's not so damned hot. So I'll come in here, and just behind here there's a hole for the panel in there, and that's where the cable will come down and join into the backbone here. So hopefully I'll be able to network the 2 plotters if I've got enough ports. Well, we'll have to wait and see. I might have to stand alone the radar and the new plotter, and just go back to the old plotter. But it's 7:30. Mez has gone to bed because she's got the 2 a.m. shift, 2 a.m. till 6 or 7, and I'll look after things till then. Anyway, turn my torch off so you can see, and that's what we do overnight while we're bored. There we go. We're where are we? Let's so that puts us halfway to the Galapagos. Doing 6 knots. We've got 9 knots of breeze. Very calm today. We have a passenger up on the bow, a booby, that's hopefully hasn't been on the top of the panels and made a mess. Mez has done some washing and we're just enjoying the peace and quiet.
Well, I was till you got up.
Well, okay, she was till I got up.
Sorry.
And last night I mounted the old plotter. I managed to find a vacant networking port in the system, so that's now networked in instead of using the iPad. I've still got the iPad there as a backup with Navionics on it, but we're doing all right. And I'm going to have a bunch of eggs for breakfast because it's a nice day. I've got to break open. I don't think our carrots are going to last. Our carrots are starting to sprout. Our spuds are under there in the dark, but and the bananas are starting to go. I've turned the eggs once, so I've got to turn them again. If we continue to turn them like this, then they'll last. They won't dry out. The shells won't dry out, and they say that they'll last a lot longer. These aren't refrigerated eggs. We bought the shelf-stable eggs. So, yeah, plenty of provisions in here. Fruit and veg. Freezer's up there. Still at 17 degrees, or minus 17. Jesus, I hope it's not 17 degrees. Otherwise, it'll be starting to smell. That's the overnight bunk. So, but there it is. It's quite nice. Oh, there we go. So this is what sailing in the doldrums is. Late afternoon on day 5. We've got a couple of boobies up the front.
And a couple of boobies here as well.
Shitting all over the boat.
Okay, it's evening of, I think it's day 6, day 7, whatever it is that we're doing. We've got a pair of boobies up the front. Magnificent sunset as always. I'm going to spin you around because even though, look, we're out here, as Mick Keogh would call it, shit carters. But there's still work that needs to be done. Apparently we've got a loose belt down here, it's not allowing water to come in. So Rick's down there getting that fixed, and then when we get to Hiva Oa, our dinghy's got a hole in it, so we're going to have to go searching for that as well. It's just magic. Here I was thinking that I was the only one that had boobies on the boat. Look, there's another pair of boobies up the front. They've been with, well, one of them's been with us for a couple of days, the other one joined in today. Sun's almost gone, but there's a lot of nothing. There's Rick down the engine well. And then it's Mexican for dinner when that job's done.